Hi, I'm Rusty from the Rusty Harden Studio in Tipp City, Ohio, and today we are creating another doodle with color. So I'm going to guide you on how to draw each of the flowers and the entire drawing. And the supplies I'm using today is my paper is the Bristol Smooth. I like the Strathmore. I get these actually from what they call their visual journal because the size is just consistent for me. I'm using the Derwent Inktense Paint Pan Studio set. It's 22 colors plus a black and white. It's nice. The colors are vibrant. Inktense is not a watercolor. It is a water media, and the colors are very intense, and they're permanent once they're on your paper. The pen that I'm using is a Uniball Signo Micro 207. It's a retractable gel pen that is both waterproof and fade proof. The brush that I'm using is the water brush that actually comes with the set. I love these brushes. I've been using them for years. The water is actually in the handle. I do have a container of water and a paper towel next to me, but I don't often need to go there to get the water because there's not just I can press on this handle and the water that I need comes right out of this, right out to this end of the brush. So let me just switch these things over and we'll get started. There we go. Okay, there's my paper. I'm going to guide you on how to draw the wreath with the butterfly. I have some index cards, and I'll demonstrate the shapes of the flowers before I actually put them on my paper. First thing I did was I found a container that I thought was the perfect size for creating the circle. I don't know, you can use a cup, the bottom of a jar, bottom of my spray bottle, whatever's the perfect size for you. I was careful not to go all the way around with solid lines because I liked having the space in between some of the flowers. So I just gave myself some guiding little dots and dashes. So I'm ready. I'm going to start with this flower. Then I'm going to demonstrate it on my card, put it on the drawing, and then move on around. So the first flower that I'm doing is I'm going to make a circle, and then I'm going to fill in the circle with a filled-in dot. Now I say if you can find the shape or relate to a shape, you can draw anything. So I'm going to suggest that these flowers, the petals, are triangles. You can see here that the triangles are a little hard-edged, but if I take the same thought, there we go, and kind of round off those corners and maybe like poofed up my triangle like a little bit of a maybe put some little air in them, then I have these perfect petals for my flowers. So I have that flower, and then I'm going to connect it here with a line. Okay, so that's where I'm going to start here on my little circle. So I've got a circle. I'm going to fill in the circle there and there. There we go. First little rounded off triangle. There we go. I'm going to connect it with a wavy line. Now I don't strive for perfection. I just relax and enjoy what I'm doing. If they're a little bit different, and you'll see when I bring out the one that I already have drawn all the way because I like for the ink to cure, that it's not identical. It's because I had too much space in between some of the flowers after I got started. I'm not mad at me. Perfection is overrated. So there I have my first flower. I'm going to come down to this next one. So the leaves, I have these little leaf shapes here, and I have two of them. And then right off of that, I have this flower. So here's my little leaf shape that I put on its side under that flower. The flower that I have is I've created a little bit of a stem. Then they are long triangles, and I've stacked them next to one another. like so. A couple more on top. There we go. So that's how I've created this flower right here. So I already have my little leaves there like I suggested. There we go. Got a little bit of a top for it. Now, the whole thing is basically a triangle shape, so I'm going to try to keep my long little triangles inside a triangle shape. So I kind of stack them, make some of them longer. Just going for this overall triangle shape with all these little long, narrow triangles. Let's see, I think I'm going to bring this one up here. I don't like that it's all that even, so I'm going to add a couple more to make it a little bit uneven. And one more. There you go. I feel good about that. Now, trying to keep on the same little bit of a circle, I'm going to add my, I don't know, they kind of look a little bit like violets to me, but they're abstracted. They're not exact anything. So with my card here, the little base part of the flower is basically a little triangle. Then I bring out the petals. Some of them remind me of triangles, some of them remind me of leaf shapes. Whatever they are to you. There we are. So now I'm not actually drawing everything exactly on the circle, so I'm kind of staying a little bit above or below my marks for my circle. So here we go. I'm going to make a little bit of this triangle shape here, and then I have either leaf shapes or triangle shape for my little triangles, and boom, very good. I have this pretty little kind of ferny looking leaf right here. Now, see, that's a lot of space right there. I may choose to come back and put a leaf in there. Like I said, I'm not striving for perfection. It's okay with me if the you know, if it's different. So I have a circle here, and it, like this flower is this flower bloomed. So again, I have the like long triangles. All the way around. Different lengths. They're not all the same. All the way around the center. And they're going to be a pretty little orange when we get ready to paint them. Okay, good. How about if I move up the other direction? I'm going to put that same flower up here. So I'm going to kind of start out with myself with the circle as a guide. And I'm going to make little long triangles coming towards that other flower. Go all the way around. Here we go. I'll go over these again with my pen. I want to make the lines pretty significant, so I'll go over them. I wanted to go over these guys again too. Yeah, very good. I like it. So beyond this one, I have this leaf shape again, and another leaf shape. And then I have a little curly Q, and a little stem with a couple leaves coming out. Then on the other side of this one, I have this violet looking thing again, so the bottom of it is a little bit like a triangle. And then I have leaf shapes and triangle shapes. There we go. It's okay, the stem doesn't go anywhere. It's going to be pretty round, wreath-like floral here. So I've got my center. I'm going to put a center fill in center circle. Now I'm going to make my wonky little triangle shapes. Can you say wonky and pretty flower in the same sentence? But I think they are wonky triangle shapes. I'm going to go over these lines again. And now I'm going to connect them. I'm going to create this flower up here. I have some petal shapes. And now make a little sweepy line. Again, this one hasn't opened. A few extra little petal shape or leaf shapes around it. I'm going to pick up this flower again. I'm going to make a circle with a circle inside against my triangle petals. Oh, look, they're not even that even all the way around. But when I paint them, they'll be beautiful. So I'm going to connect them with their little lines. It's just about relaxing. Take some deep breaths. We're making something pretty. So out of this flower, I'm going to make a swirl, sweepy line, a few little leaves around on it. I'm going to put another one right here. It's different than that is down there, but that's okay. So now this flower is going to be open here, so I'm going to start with a kind of a center, make my long little triangles all the way around my flower. These are long triangles for petals. Okay, very good. So now I'm going to make some leaves here. And I'm going to make this little triangle shape here for the base of that. What I say kind of reminds me of a violet. And so I'm going to do maybe a triangle shape and a couple little leaf shapes. There's another triangle shape. I guess that looked more like a rectangle, didn't it? Well, let's just make our line a little bit heavier and make the adjustment. I'm kind of sketchy when I hold my pen. I'm not trying to hold it really tight. I'm trying to be a little bit loose. That keeps my hand from getting tired, one. And the other thing it does is helps me be able to make adjustments to my lines if I don't start out being too heavy right away. Okay, now I end up having a little bit more space than I intended to have, so that's what happened here. So I guess it was intentional. So now I'm going to make this petal shape, and I'm going to come around, and I'm going to fill in this space with this flower. And that's what you do. Just fill in a space with something simple if you have to. Now from here, I got another curly Q. I have some leaves coming off the side of them. Okay. So what am I going to do with this little bit of space I have right there? Let's see. I can just make something up, right? So I'm going to put another leaf here. And I'm okay with that space. I really am. So I'm just going to leave that as a space. Don't be afraid of space. Now I always add some design that's not going to get any color. That's just me. So I made these wavy lines. And I went back over the wavy line to have this space. So I put a leaf up here like so, and out here I put two little leaves kind of going down. I put some circles. This isn't going to get any color in mine, but you can add color, of course, if you want to. So there we go. Just put 3 little circles. Okay, 5 little circles there. Have another one here. Just a few little circles. Gonna do another leaf vine. Gonna do another curly Q here. There we go. And I did a wavy line in these sections. Just wavy, wavy, wavy. Okay. Put a few lines in this leaf. Alrighty. Okay, I'm ready for some color. Let me switch over to my Inktense. And there we go. Oh, I forgot my butterfly, didn't I? Yes, indeed, I did. Speaking of triangles, the butterfly wings are triangles. Grab another card. So I'm going to create a rounded off triangle and then a rounded off triangle. And I'm going to put the body of the butterfly on here, fill it in, and give him his antennas, and then add the design. That's what I have here. I have a rounded off triangle. And I have another rounded off triangle. I'm going to go over my line. Almost forgot to put him in there. And what's the worst thing that would happen if I had forgotten? It wouldn't be here. It's not a bad thing. I'm going to put a few little design lines inside. And this petal shape, I'm going to repeat this petal shape inside my butterfly wings. Clean up that line a little bit. There we go. So I'm going to have that petal shape, petal shape, petal shape. Do the same thing here. Petal shape, petal shape, petal shape. So now I look at it and decide, do I need to make it longer? Do I need to make it shorter? I'm going to go ahead and put another loop in here, like as if it was another petal shape in here. That way I can add the extra color, and then these guys will be all the same color. And I'll put a line in it. And you'll see in a second when we get ready for the other one. Now I'm going to switch out to the other one that I've already have drawn because I wanted the ink to dry and to cure. It can be dry to the touch, but really for the ink to do its thing and really be fade proof and waterproof, I need for it to have a few minutes. Okay, I don't know, kind of question about the time. I do this like some hours ahead so that we're ready to go when it comes to adding our color. So I'm going to put this like this so we can see it. I'm going to grab my paints so that you can watch me get my paints. Now I'm using, as I said, the Derwent Inktense. I love these paints. They're water media, not watercolor. I have some of the colors I've already used are still there from making the sample. So I'm just going to add the colors that I have. I want to spritz or spray. I want to spray my blocks. And even though I'm only going to use a few of them, I spray everything because you never know. I might want them. So how about if we start with these triangle shaped flowers, the ones with the long triangles. So I'm going to get, I have a little bit, I'll squeeze the water out of my brush. Boom. So I have that right there. I have a lot of mixing area up here, but I'm pretty much just going to mix down here so you can see it. So if I just squeeze a little bit of water out of my brush, I put it right over the yellow. It's reconstituting that. So the yellow that I have here is the sun yellow. So I'm going to put some, pick up some of the paint, make myself my little bit of a puddle so I can come back here and get clean color every time I want it. So, okay, so I'm going to start with this one. And I'm going to put on every one of the petals. So there's different ways I can mix the color up here in my palette, or I can blend the colors right here on the paper. Because the aqua brush doesn't really release a lot of water, that works out real well for me. And I see that I sketched this in quite a bit different than the one that I just did for you, which is okay. Just do your thing. Like I don't have that flower on there. When I got around to it, I didn't have room. It's okay, I'm not mad at me. It's just a doodle. It's just pen and paper, paint and paper. You know, when we have to stress ourselves over that, we're living a little bit too intense. It's just pen on paper. Okay. So I'm gonna not gonna let this dry completely, but I'm gonna let this some of the water evaporate out of that. I'm going to come and pick up the orange. This is called bright orange. Now, I sprayed this little sponge. Sometimes it's good for me just to maybe lift off a little bit of excess water if I find that I've squeezed too much in it. So now I'm going to come back right over where I've painted, but I'm not trying to cover all of it. So I have a little bit of orange and a little bit of yellow still showing through. Isn't that pretty? Kind of a quick project, really. I had a lot more water in that one, so I'm going to wait that one out. Come back to the bright orange. I picked up a lot of color that time. It's easy to do. Inktense is permanent on your paper, so you can paint fabrics with these Inktense too. I haven't done it much, but you can. It's just good to know which options are. Okay, I'm going to come back, and I still see that I have quite a bit of water in that. Wasn't my intention, but there it is. Right. So let's go ahead and go with the greens. I can go ahead and put those colors in. I've got picking up my green is called Hooker's Green. That's right. Took me a minute to remember Hooker's Green. So I'm going to come in, do all these little leaf shapes that I have. Just go right on around and fill them in. Okay, let me travel here. This side and this side, and this side and that side. Cute, aren't they? Yeah, Hooker's Green. So I'm going to add a little bit of the kiwi and mix the kiwi and the Hooker's Green for the triangle shape on that violet looking piece, and so I'm going to come back and do that. But this part doesn't get any color, so I'm going to skip right on over here. I mean, you can use color in yours if you want, if you decide. Maybe you're not even going to add it. I don't know. Okay. Come over here. I'm going to go ahead and going to squeeze the color out of my brush onto a paper towel, and it cleans out my brush for me. I don't really need to drop it down into the down into my water I have over there, although I have my water. So now I'm going to pick up a little bit of the kiwi, and I'm going to pick up a Hooker's Green together and mix them. That's what I have right here. Right. And so that's what's going to be this triangle shape to this violet. And the yellow green really helps pop the purple that's going to go in that violet. So that's my, that's why I make sometimes the choices that I make. So I have another one. It's not quite a real bright yellow green, but it's the other had more blue in it. Speaking of that, I see I missed one. Where'd it go? I know I just saw it. Oh, here we go. I missed that little leaf right there. Okay, very, very happinesses. Okay. Let's go ahead and get the violet, and for the little violet looking flowers that I have. That's some intense color. I'm just going to wipe a little bit of that out of my brush. Don't want it so intense, which is funny since it's Inktense, but there we go. So if you add water to it, it gets lighter. You thin it down with water and it gets lighter. There we go. And we'll do this one up here. Yep. I forgot to do that leaf that's green. So while I'm thinking about it, noticing it, I'm going to come up here and get the hooker's green, and fill it in. Very good. So I mixed, let's have a look. I mixed my sun yellow. Let me find a little place for it right here so you can see it. I mixed my sun yellow and I added a little bit of my fuchsia to get a really very pretty salmon color. I need a little bit more yellow. Yeah, a little salmon color. The kind of my favorite color for hibiscus, you know what I mean? So I have that color mixed up right here. It's really very pretty. I'm going to thin it down. There we go. Put a little extra water in that. And that's the color I'm going to paint these petals. Could use a little bit more color. Very pretty little salmon color. So it's probably my favorite color of the for the hibiscus is that little salmon color. It's a good way to make flesh too, by the way. If you mix your yellow and maybe a good pink, you often can get a nice little flesh color. Don't really have flesh color here. You can get a lot of things. Depends on what it is you're painting. So I just want to get these petals. That's a little darker than I want it to be. That's okay. I'm just going to pick up that color and put it over here on this petal. So I've lifted it from there, put it over there. Just don't sweat the small stuff. And they don't need to be perfectly all the same color anyway, because it is a doodle with color. I know I say that a lot, but sometimes we just get so caught up in things being perfect that we forget to just relax and enjoy it. Now some people will say, well, I can't enjoy it unless it is perfect. I say, well, you be you. Okay, where I fought back having these colors too dark, I'm gonna come back up here and get that color, and I'm gonna just use the darker or less watered down color of this color mixture. This was my sun yellow and my fuchsia that I put together to make this pretty little color, and I like it a lot. Let me have a look. I'm going to take that same color and put in the center of these guys. So lift some of that. If you have a brush, if you dry your brush out, like I just took all the water out of my end of my water brush, you can come in and you can lift up color. So I really had too much water, released it. It's just a thing. So I'm going to add just a little bit more fuchsia to the same color mixture I had. And I'm going to fill in and paint in between those petals with that color. Isn't that pretty? I'm going to use that fuchsia color up there in that butterfly in a second. And there we go. Let me have a look. I have everything that I intended to paint down here painted. I think I'd like to go back to the bright yellow a little bit and add a little bit more bright yellow to some of these down here. Not bright yellow, bright orange. Ugh, hate when my brain does that. I think I'd like to have a little bit more orange in it. Yeah. This brush really does make a nice little point. Oh, look, and I'm missing the color back here. That's easy to do. Okay. Oh, I'm happy. So let's come up here. I'm going to get the fuchsia and I'm going to paint it right over all my lines. I'm okay if I see them. They're going to kind of get pushed around anyway. So I'm going to fill in with this fuchsia, the top part of my butterfly wing. And I have lines in there, and those lines are going to show through. Now I'm going to Do the bottom wing. I'm going to rinse out my brush, which means I'm just going to let the water out, touch it to my sponge. It's all cleaned out. I'm going to go ahead and get a little bit of the black that I have here and put some on the body. Sometimes I'm satisfied with just what I've done with the ink, but I like to make it a little bit more intense. So I'm rinsing out my brush, a few drops of water, right on my little sponge, and it's all cleaned out. I'm going to pick up my mango. I had to look over on the little chart. So I have a little bit of a mango color here. And I'm going right over both of my little, I called them petal shapes when I did them. So I can go ahead and bring the color all the way up. Now I'm going to pick up the bright orange and just do the bottom one. When you put a wet color over a wet color, you get a pretty little blended thing that happens here. You can also wait and let it dry and then put a wet color over a dry color. It's called glazing. Nice effects. Very nice. Well, I'm finished with this one today. Let me have a look. I might make sure might want to go over some of my lines. Again, make them a little more definite. I think that would benefit. Look, I got out a line a little bit up here. It's okay. I'm just going to come in with my pen and make it better part of the little flower. Well, I want to thank you for joining me today. I have classes on Eventbrite. I have some free doodle classes. I do doodle with color every week. And I have some watercolor classes on Eventbrite. That link is down in the description, as well as some of the a list of the supplies and where you can get them is also down in the link. So thank you. Look forward to the next round, and look, doodle on.